Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing today? Just waiting for everything to pop up. It's taking some time this morning. Okay, I am going to put my link into the comments as soon as that shows up. There we go. Welcome to my page. How is everybody doing? Hey, Kristen. Okay, we're pinned. Okay. Welcome to my page. My name is Michaela. I am from Pain Fixation in Middleburg, Florida. So if you're local to the Jacksonville Orange Park area, I'm local. You can come to my shop at Antiques for You or my shop at Junk in the Trunk. I have displays in both places. First, I wanted to thank everybody for your prayers and thoughts during this past week. It's been a rough week. As most of you know, my mother-in-law passed away on Wednesday, and I'm coming live early today because we are having prayers this evening for the family, and the funeral will be tomorrow. So I just wanted to thank everybody for that. And so I was unable to go live last week. We were bedside vigil all week, and so I decided to go ahead. I'm working on this dresser. I wanted to jump on here and show you how I'm doing some blending with some reds and blacks. Okay, so this is the rustic red from Dixie Belle, and thank you, Kristen. So this is the rustic red from Dixie Belle, and this is caviar, and we're just doing a simple blend between the two. And this does not have a top coat on it, and so you can see the marks. And I've done a scratch test. A lot of people are concerned that I would need slick stick on this piece. I will be posting pictures probably after I get off of here. I want to show you some progression pictures of painting this in thin coats. So this is wood. It does not need slick stick, but it was very shiny. I took progression photos as I was cleaning it and showed the deglossing that White Lightning provides to your piece in order for you to paint it without slick stick. I did very thin coats of paint and waited a couple of hours in between so that the paint was good and dry before the second coat. And it's passed my scratch test, so we're good to go. So this side has been done. Now, originally I was trying to blend the muscadine. My original thought was to do the caviar with muscadine wine into the rustic red. And the reason I wanted to do that, and it did look pretty good, but it was very difficult. So these are the two colors. This is the muscadine wine, and this is the rustic red. So as I blended from the black to the muscadine wine into the rustic red, it looked good because it was kind of a natural progression, but it was very difficult. If you are new to blending, don't blend these two colors. Because even though they're very different, when they're wet, they're very hard to distinguish between the two. So I was like blending, drying, trying to see, and it was just not, to be perfectly honest, I just wasn't in the mood to work that hard on it. Okay, it's been a long week, and so I just painted back over it and did red to black, or black to red, and I love it. These are my two favorite colors. Red and black are my two favorite colors. I've only ever done, I did two end tables a while back when I first started painting furniture with a different brand in red. They turned out beautiful, but I have not done any since then. And so this piece just kind of, I felt like this was the piece that needed to be red. So this is the drawers. Hi, Celia. Welcome. Okay, let me get my phone out and get the video up on my phone. Hang on one second. Just one moment. The girl from the shop that I paint from, she is asking me a question. So let me just quickly answer her. Hang on. I'm so sorry. Someone wants some would you bend, and she couldn't remember the name, so I'm just letting her know. I'm so sorry. But business is business, right? You gotta do your business. Let me just check and see if anyone has asked any questions. I've never had this happen before. Let me just, whoop, real quick. Okay. All right. Now let me pull up my page so I can see. I can't see comments on the computer. And where are we? I apologize, guys. Okay, so here, nope, that's not it. Why is it not showing up? Hang on. Refresh. So when you come on, please say hello, like Celia just did, and Kristen's here. Thank you, Kristen. I know I've never had to. I've never done business while doing a live before, but there we go. Okay, here we are. All right, here we are. Okay, let me turn my volume down so I don't have to hear myself and get it switched. Facebook has been weird lately. Okay, there we go. All right, thank you for the hearts. Okay, so this is what we're working on right here. Okay, this is rustic red and caviar. Okay, and I'm going to show y'all how I did this. And if we have time, I might do the side. I haven't done the side over here yet. A little water drippage right there. Okay, so what I have is I have my rustic red in this container here, and I have my caviar here, and you can see where my muscadine wine is in there that I decided not to use. And I'm playing with some new brushes, okay? So Dixie Belle right now is out of brushes. Our brushes are handmade in Florida, and with COVID, everything's back ordered, okay? So I wanted to try, hi Laurie, I wanted to try some different brushes, different price points. So I got some Paint Pixie. So I got this one. It's called the Dusty from Paint Pixie. Okay, I wanted to say Paint Fixation. I wish I had my own brushes. And I also got their little Frenchie. Okay, so this is very similar to Dixie Belle's French tip, but it's more narrow. It's smaller, and I've got to say I'm really digging it. Okay, this is what we're going to use to do this, and I used it a little bit for blending yesterday, and I really like it. It's a nice brush. Now I did use this one for some blending yesterday. I was blending in my muscadine wine and stuff. I think this is going to be really good for certain applications for blending. I haven't used it like in a big area yet. The only thing I'm not sure about is my wrist because of the shape of this and how short it is. Now I love the Dixie Belle Mini angle. So the Dixie Belle Mini and the Mini angle are both made like this one. This fits perfectly in my hand. This is my favorite brush next to the oval medium. Okay, these are my two favorite brushes, these two. Perfect for blending, perfect for everything else. Okay, I use this one for top coats also, which I also got the Paint Pixie Pinelli and a 2.5 inch to do top. I want to try it with top coats. I heard it really works well for gator hide, and so I will be doing using that brush. I don't have it out yet to do the top coat on the little side table that I've been working on with the flamingo and apricot, and I'll show you all that in just a minute. So, so I like the bristles on this. I'm not real familiar with Paint Pixie, and Kristen, if you're on here and you can comment for me on this, this is obviously natural bristles, but I see some in here that might be synthetic, so I'm thinking this is a hybrid. But I'm going to be getting some information from the company so I know more. I have not selling these yet. I wanted to try them myself first. Okay, so these are still, and I'm testing them for myself to see if I like them. This one I definitely like. I love our French tip. Let me grab our French tip and show you the difference. Oh, getting old. Hang on. So the Dixie Belle French tip is this one, okay? It's got a plastic handle, works really well. I really like this brush for waxes and blending. This one, look how small it is. Can you see that? And it's got the pointed tip. I really like this one. I can get all of these details, and I'm going to show you that right here in a minute. All right, so when you come on, say hello. So Kristen says she loves the Pinellis. They're not synthetic, but they're synthetic, but look natural. The Dusty is natural. Okay, so I'm assuming the Dusty doesn't have any synthetic, although looking at it, it looks like it might have some synthetic in there, but what do I know? I'm not a brush maker. Okay. So I've already got 2 coats on here, and if you've ever used reds, then you know that red is very hard. It's not a very pigmented color. Okay, so when you're painting with red, always keep in mind that your paint isn't going to be as pigmented as some of your other colors. So this was a cherry color, dark cherry color. So I did not have to do a primer, but if you're going from, hi Aunt Katie, if you're going from a white or a light gray or any light colors to red, my suggestion is always to either use a gray primer, and if it's Dixie Belle paint, I just use like Hurricane Gray or Driftwood or one of those. It doesn't have to be a primer, but you will use less paint if you put a gray paint underneath the red. It covers up the gray. Yes, Wendy, I'm live. You're on here. The Dusty one. Okay, so Kristen just said the Dusty paint pixies are hybrids. See, I'm smarter than I thought. Yes, Wendy, I'm live and you're commenting on the live video, so I'm not sure why you can't find me. Okay, so I'm going to get started. Let me see. Maybe I should move this over here so y'all can kind of see it at an angle. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do, I've got my water bottle, got my rag to wipe off, and I'm going to start with I'm going to start over here because I don't want to try and do the whole thing at one time because I don't want my paint to get too dry before I move on to this next section, okay? So I'm going to dampen this so my paint moves, okay? Like I said, I've got 2 coats on here already. I've got some little goopers in there. I don't know where that came from. And yes, y'all can see. Okay. And I'm going to try and keep up with, hi Sandy, welcome. North Carolina, one of my favorite places. We have a cabin in North Carolina in the Linville Falls area. We've been going up there since I was about 5 years old. I love it. Okay, so in order to keep your brush strokes to a minimum, you want to do thin coats. Now, when you're blending, inevitably you're going to have brush strokes because you're layering paint. It's not really meant to be a strokeless finish when you're blending. You just naturally end up with brush strokes, but you can minimize that with your mister. And then in here, I'm just going to feather this out so that when I come back from this direction, it'll blend nicely together. Okay, and it won't be thick. So I'm feathering this out for later so that this will be nice. Okay, I'm going to add some more here. And I hear my dog out there. I'm not sure what my dog's doing. Okay, so we've got our rustic red on there. I'm going to set this down. Blowing Rock, I love Blowing Rock. Love Blowing Rock. Yeah, we've been going up there for years. We've had a family cabin since I was about 5 years old, and then my uncle put a cabin on the same piece of property. So I just misted this to keep it wet, and I'm going to bring in my black, and I'm just going to lay it on. I don't know what my dog is doing out there. Sounds like my husband's playing with her. And again, I'm using, this is the Paint Pixie Frenchie, Little Frenchie. It's the smallest one. And I'm just going to put it. Now, I'm not as concerned about this edge over here because I'll go back and, okay, Kristen, I'll go back and get all that evened up. But for now, I'm just concerned about the drawer itself. Okay, so our paint is damp. I'm going to come all the way down to where my wet red is. And I'll also go back at the end and do the tops of the drawers. Okay, so now I have my oval medium. This is my favorite blender. I'm going to dampen it, and I'm just going to come in here, and I'm literally just going to pull the paint together. Okay, do you see how beautifully that edge is? How beautifully, that's not even how beautiful that edge is. I'm just going to pull it through. And you can bring it down as far as you want, okay? And all that does is smooth it out. And then I'm going to bring it like this. I just want to make sure y'all can see. Okay, I'm going to blend it, and I'm going to pull it. Okay, you see? And then I see I have a little, I don't know if y'all can see it on here, but there's a little bit of a brush stroke where I ended right there. I'm just going to feather that in. Okay? And that is it. I'm going to leave it alone and let it dry, and then I'll come back and check it. It may need another coat. We'll see. Because as that dries, that black's going to darken, deepen up. Okay, I'm going to mist this to get my paint to pull all the way across. And we're going to get it right to the edge of our previous layer. Again, I'm going to fix those sides up after I'm all done, and we're tidying everything up at the end. Oops, I don't want to put that in that line on accident. If you're new to Dixie Belle, please let me know. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. I love to answer questions and make sure people have success when they're using the product. Okay. Alrighty, so that one's done. And now I'm going to get my French tip and my caviar. And I'm just going to get it in there. That's what I like about this brush is the tip. Gets right in there. And I may go back over this with some wax, maybe, to deepen it. I'm not sure yet. I haven't decided. I also love the Dixie Dirt, so that's always another possibility to soften it, is with the Dixie Dirt. And if you have never tried that product before, I highly recommend you at least trying it because it's a fun product. It gives a nice soft edge. Let me turn this way. Hang on, guys. There we go. And I think that needs to be a little bit deeper right here. So I'm going to add a little bit more black to that. Now I'm going to get my oval medium. I'm going to clean it off. I'm going to give this a light mist. And I'm just going to pull it through. I'll wipe it off. Pull that through. And then I'm going to brush it, and then I'm just going to pull it through this way. And I'm looking at this, I'm thinking I'm going to add a little bit more black in there. just to deepen it up just a little bit. Okay, and like I did over there, I'm just going to take it this way just to soften it up so we don't see the drag marks from the brush. A little hair right there, because my animals will not stay out of here even though there's a piece of tape across the door. They still find their way in here. Okay, and then here I have little watermarks for my things. I'm just going to pull this and just brush this through, just so none of those little watermarks show up too much. And that's it. Okay, do y'all see that? Let me look on here. My phone's acting up. Okay. Thank you, Laurie. Hi, Donna. All right. Okay. So that's as easy as that. Okay. So this one will dry, and as it dries, it will get more of this muted look on this one. And on the camera, it's looking a little bit more harsh than it looks in real life. This is very muted. It's not, doesn't have any harsh lines or anything. And I love, even though the red sometimes will end up in the black over here, I love the way that looks because it just, to me, it just looks, I don't know. I love it. I've been wanting to do a red piece for so long. Okay, so now I'm going to turn y'all over here. So we're going to do, let me bring it down this way instead of that way, instead of angling you. There you go. Okay. So we're going to do this the same way. I'm going to mist the drawer. I'm going to get my brushes out of the way. We're going to work with just one half at a time. And I'm going to lay it in there. Now, if you're doing a piece and you're not blending and you're not spraying, but you want to minimize your brush strokes, just light coats and just mist it. Okay, the first coat I don't use very much water on at all. The first coat goes on a little bit smoother because you don't have the chalkiness of the first layer. But the second coat, I almost always will use a misting bottle. And if you're not blending or spraying, but you're doing thin coats, you can get a virtual brushless look, okay? It does look like rose petals. Well, Kristen, okay, so while I'm painting this, y'all can discuss, this is the original hardware, okay? I don't want to invest in all these, in more hardware. So the two options that I've been discussing with myself in my head are painting them black with red. We have red gilding wax. Painting them red with black gilding wax, or a solid black. I'm not real keen on the gold. They're not the highest quality top hardware. So any and all suggestions are being taken now. So here they are. Okay. All right, so we've got our caviar on there. And now we're going to pull it through with our blending brush, which is the oval medium. I'm going to mist it. And I'm just going to pull it through the red. this. Alrighty. And we're going to do this the same way we did the other side. We're just going to pull it in, pull it in, pull it in. Use my left hand. And just feather it out. And I've got this a little further down than I wanted, so I'm just going to add some more rustic red in here. And bring that line up just a little bit. You see how easy that was to do? Very easy. So if you're new to my page, if you're watching for the first time, the best way to get notifications if I'm on live is to follow my page. That way you'll get notifications. I am trying to go live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. I just started it and I've already missed 2 because of life. But I will be on this Wednesday at 7, barring anything major. And I've got several pieces of furniture that I'm going to be working on, and so I'm not sure what we'll be doing Wednesday night. I actually have some crafts that I want to get done too, so we might be doing a craft. Okay, this is not... There we go. That wasn't wanting to do what I wanted it to do, but now we got it. All right, that looks good. Okay. Also, if you're enjoying this video and you want to sprinkle it along, that would be great and much appreciated. Send it along to your friends or followers or Facebook. Video heaven or whatever you want to call it, you know, where you share it and then Facebook sends it to other people to see. That's always a good way to boost a small business, to like it, to share it. Facebook likes that. They want to know if the video is worth being seen by someone else. Okay, so I'm just adding my little wet layer here. I'm going to feather these in together. When you feel the paint drag, just add a little bit more of a mist of water, and you will feel the difference, okay? You'll feel the difference. Okay. I'm going to get a little bit... Kristen, we can do it this week if you want. So Kristen Rosenbeck, she does Lost and Found Mercantile as her business. And on Thursday evening, she does painting in PJs, and she's been having artists from the paint community join her. And she's asked me to paint with her. I'm very excited about it. I think it'll be very fun. So we'll be live together on her page. And I'll share it to this page as well. Oops, need a little bit more on there. And I need to get that in the crack there. I really like this brush. I gotta say, I'm really happy with it. Well, we can do it this week. Kristen, are we going to have a theme? Do I have to use a certain paint, or can I do what I want? Are you going to be bossy with the paint? How I have to do it? All right. So I'm going to mist my brush a little bit, and I'm going to start just blending this in. Just like that. Now what I didn't mention before is when I move to the top, I'm going to flip my brush over so that the part that's been mostly on the red will stay on the red. So we don't get a streak of black in the center there. And then start to pull this in. Can you all see? Okay. I've got a little bit of a water drip there, so I'm just going to take my red brush, pull that through. Now I'm going to go up and down with this. Okay, soften this edge. So I'm just going to take this and lightly grab that and then bring it back in this way. And what that does is it softens the edge of those where they're coming together so that you don't have an actual line. It's just almost like a shadow. So if you follow me, you know that I have a cat door that we originally put on these doors when the kids were younger. And I have them taped up, but the cats keep finding a way in. I'm not kidding. It drives me crazy. Okay. And when they do that, I get these little hairs. I vacuumed in here, and they still find a way. I'm sure if you guys have animals, you completely understand that. Okay. So the only other things I want to do is I just noticed here, I can do whatever I want. This is the little Frenchie, Kristen. This is the smallest one. I wanted to get the smallest one because ours is larger and I wanted something tapered on the end. And I've already used it for 2 days now and I've washed it and it's really held its shape. So I'm digging it. So I'm going to bring it up here. I didn't get very much black on this little rim here, so I'm going to just pull this on here like this. I'm going to give it a little light mist on my brush instead of the piece, and then I'm just going to smooth it out. Okay, and that's it. Smoothing it out. All right, so this one's just about dry. It's still a little bit wet over in this area, you can see, but as you can see, as it dries, it starts to become more muted. Okay, so now I'm going to do this lower rim. This to me it looks almost like a smoky finish with the black and the red together. To me, just kind of looks like a smoky finish. It's the only way I know how to really describe it. So I'm going to put a wet edge here with the red, even though this is going to be mostly black, but I want it to have that same color. There's a little bit of a drip drop right there. The same reddish black color as the rest of the piece. So I'm adding a wet edge here. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Here, my husband's out there going, no, no. I'm thinking he's talking to an animal. There's no kids young enough to be talked to like that, so I'm thinking he's knowing it, one of the animals. Okay, so then I'm going to come over here, add a wet edge on this one. Plus this third coat also gives me full coverage. I think I got interrupted earlier when I was telling y'all that I will be posting pictures of the thin coats that I did in order to get this done without having to use any slick stick. And I took some photos to show you how thin the coats were. I did one coat and I let it dry most of the day. And then I did a second coat, thin coat, and then that's what was on here when we started. So it was almost full coverage, but if you want true strokeless finish, and you want your paint to adhere really well, if you have a slightly slicker surface, if you're nervous about not using slick stick, thin coats are the way to go. All right, so I'm getting my black on here. I'm being generous with it. Okay, and now I'm going to blend it all in with my oval medium. I'm going to wet my brush. Okay, and what this is going to do is it's going to kind of mix that black and red together. To give it a smoky finish on this bottom part. And then I'm going to just blend this together until it's no longer a harsh line. You see that? So can y'all see the difference in these? And this one over here, how there's a harsh line there. And this is not so harsh, okay? So now I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm just going to give it a mist, very smooth mist. I'm going to wipe off my brush. And I'm just going to pull this through. And that's it. And then I'm just going to get that liquid off of there. Sometimes I forget, and like if I took this brush and I came down this low part here to get that water off, then I would have introduced black into my red at the bottom, and I don't want to do that. Sometimes I'll do that on accident. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the way that this looks so far. I have to put the glasses up to see. And also the top, I'm doing espresso gel stain. That's what that is up there, okay? So when you're using a gel stain as a paint, you have to make sure that it's completely dry before you add your top coat, or I use gator hide on it. So you want to make sure that it's completely dry, three days minimum, sometimes 4, depending on how thick it is. Now, if you put it on like a stain where you paint it on and wipe it back, probably 2 to 3 days is all you need to worry about. Sometimes, though, with the way I did mine, I painted it on. You want to make sure it's completely dry, because what happens is the gel stain, and I'll show you the container. Okay, so this gel stain is an oil-based gel stain. So you have to wait for it to be completely dry, or what will happen is you will put your water-based top coat on top, and then the liquid that's still coming, the space between the two, the oil-based and the water-based, if the gel's not completely dry, you'll get a haze. You're going to get a white haze, and you'll have to sand that back and start that area over again. So the best bet is just to use patience, wait 3 to 4 days, and then do your top coat on top of this, okay? So the old adage, oil and water don't mix, is true, except you can paint a water-based product over an oil-based product as long as that oil-based is thoroughly dry, okay? I did my kitchen cabinets with gel stain with a white water-based top. I don't know, 7, 8 years ago. It's perfectly fine. It's beautiful. Okay, very very well. What's the word I'm looking for? It holds up very well, very durable. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to quickly do this other side since I'm going to be doing it anyway. I might as well do it with you guys to show you how I did the larger area. Okay, so it's basically the same premise. I'm going to try and work in small sections. The way I did the other side is instead of doing just the top and then the bottom, I'm doing one side and then the other side. Okay, let me get a little bit more paint in here, make sure that I have enough. What do I do with it? There it is. Okay, this is the rustic red. It's not as orangey as the rusty nail. Okay, this is the rustic red. Love it. Okay, I'm going to mist it. And like I said, I don't do this on my first coat, and I don't mist on my second coat either. I keep the brush damp. Okay, but I want this layer to be pretty wet as I'm going to be blending this edge. And so I want it to stay damp. And this layer is not, being used for coverage. It's just to fill in. There's a little bit of wood showing through there. But like I said, I used very thin coats that passes the scratch test. And as you know, it takes 21 to 30 days for it to cure. And after that, it's going to be a very durable finish for years to come. Okay? Okay, so now I can feel it. You can probably hear the paint dragging. So I'm just going to mist it. It's funny with the reds, when you mist the reds, they turn kind of a pink. If you're not expecting it, it kind of freaks you out a little bit. It's like, wait a minute, I just painted that with red. Why is that pink? Okay. Such a nice smooth finish. And I did give this a light sanding. I sand in between my coats so that we have a nice finish on it. It's smooth as butter. And please, if you have any questions, please ask. I don't mind answering questions. And if you're watching on the replay, also ask, because I'll get notification and I'll come in and answer it. It might not be the same day, just because sometimes the notifications seem like they come late. I don't know why. Okay, so this is my wet side. Now I'm going to get my black caviar and my French tip. And I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to add the black edge on it. And I'm going to do the top and the bottom as well. But for now, I'm just going to work on this edge. Okay, so it's just the edge. Got my oval medium. I'm going to give it a good mist. Okay, and then I'm just going to smooth that edge out. Just like that. Okay, that's it. I'm not going to mess with that anymore. And I'm going to take it down here, get a wet edge on my red down here. And y'all can't even see what I did. There we go. Okay. I feel so out of sorts, like I haven't been live very much lately, and getting back into it, it's kind of weird. Now, sometimes these little corners can be tricky if you don't want to have some people do the oval blend. I'm not really wanting that. I just wanted to have a smoky edge. And so you have to kind of just work it both ways until you get that edge just feathered in there just right, so it's not, because I don't really want it to have I had it over there where it was kind of a curve there, and for this piece, I wasn't really digging it. And you have to remember too, this darkens up as it dries. And I'm just going to feather out the stroke marks. And I'm going to come back and do this bottom edge here too. Let me check my comments. Okay. Y'all are quiet today. Okay. Now, I'm thinking this needs to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to add just a little bit more black to this crack right here. And just give it a quick sweep, just to darken that up in there. Alrighty, now we're going to go back and do this side over here. Okay, I'm going to apologize for humming. One thing I don't do is sing. I cannot sing, so I won't do that anymore. I'm sorry. No singing. No singing. I was not gifted with that ability. And those are coming together really nicely right here, so there's no line. You cannot tell that one was done before the other. This is too dry here, so I'm just going to give this a little spritz. You see the difference? When you work with this, you'll know what I mean when I say that the paint drags. You'll be able to see, or not see, but you'll be able to feel it. And you'll have an aha moment, like that's what she was talking about, that drag. You can feel it. And y'all probably can hear it sometimes too. Hear the difference in the way the paint sounds as you're pulling it along. And this edge, I'm going to have to work with a smaller brush to get that the way I want it to be, so that'll be for a different day. I think my son's here. I think I hear my boy out there. Maybe that's what Daddy was saying no to. Okay, yeah, my son's here from out of town for our prayer service tonight for the mother-in-law. So all the kids will be here. But you know what? She would have been 90 this November. So, boy, what a nice long life she led, right? You can't be sad about that. Someone who's lived such a beautiful life. She had 8 children. My husband's the second to the youngest of 8. She has quite the legacy. Nothing sad about that at all. Okay. Pull it up on like that. Okay. Now I've got my oval medium. And that's dragging, so I'm going to actually try and just spray that. It's getting a little bit too dry. There we go. Nice smoky edge. Ooh, just love that. And I'm going to add a little bit more red here, just on this edge. And then blend it back out a little bit, because that was getting a little bit too far away from the edge. Just like that. And I'll have to spin this around and look at the other side. I'm not 100% sure how low, how high it is. I mean, I don't care if they're perfectly the same, because after all, it is a hand-painted piece of furniture. But I don't want them to be too far off from each other. Okay, let me pull y'all up. Yeah. So I'm just working on this other under edge here. I've got a little bit of the glare. I'm just adding a little bit more red in there. And a little bit black right here. I'm just going to blend that in right there with that brush. There we go. And that's it, guys. Done. How about that? All right. Now I'm just going to get this bottom part done down here, and then we'll be finished. Okay, again, this is looking pretty harsh right here, but it's still wet. Let's see if we can soften that up a little bit. I think it's maybe a little bit too harsh on this side. Let's see. You are kind of getting to see my method of madness when I'm doing stuff and I'm going back and forth. Sometimes you don't see this part because this is, you know, where you're really fine-tuning everything, and I don't always do this on my lives with the fine-tuning. I usually finish things up like this off camera, but I'm here and got it going, so I'm just going to go with it. I'm darkening this edge up here. And then I'm going to, instead of spritzing the piece, I'm going to spritz my brush. And this is my oval medium. And I'm just going to pull this along here. There we go. That's better. Okay, that's better. All right, now I'm going to finish up this bottom part, and this will be done. And I'm really liking the finish on here. I don't feel, like a lot of times I'll get to this point and I'll start feeling like there's something that I need to change or I want to go back and do something different, but I'm really liking this one. It's unusual for me to do a piece, be one and done, but I think because I've been wanting to do the red and black for so long, and so I've had it in my head what I wanted it to look like, and that's what's coming around for me. Okay, and I've got several pieces of furniture now. My husband and I got some really good deals this past week. So if y'all have colors that y'all are wanting to see done or blends that y'all want to see done, let me know, because I've got several pieces out there that I need to paint. I also have a custom job that I'm hoping to get. I'm meeting with that customer on Wednesday, and I'm hoping that she'll let me do a live, because I'm thinking it's a huge china cabinet, and I'm thinking it's going to have to be done from her home. So I'm hoping that she'll let me go live from there. Ideally, I would want to spray it, but for you guys that know, I'm in Florida right now with the humidity. Spraying is not going to happen. All right, now I'm going to have to let this dry completely so that I can, because when you're working with, especially when you're working with reds, I'm putting my brushes in here just in case I need to come back and fix anything. I don't want to wash them just yet. So I'm going to put them in here. They'll stay good enough, nice. They won't get hard. So if I do need to come back later and touch up, I won't have to get a fresh brush. It'll be ready to go. And so let's take a look at it. So this side is still very much wet. You can see the shine from the wet, okay? And then let's give it a spin. That's our front. Okay. I'm really liking it. It's still got a little bit of some wet spots, but nothing too major. And there's a very little brush strokes, even though this is blended. There's very little brush strokes, just a little bit. You can't really not have brush strokes when you blend unless you're spraying. And then here's our other side we saw first. Okay. So it's and this is where I did my scratch test right here. I'm going to show y'all. You can just see where it's chalky. Let's see if I can, right in here. It's chalky, but it's not, the paint's not coming off. Okay, that'll go away with top coat. And then again, here's the top. That's espresso gel stain. That's 2 coats. And as soon as that's dry, we'll put our gator hide on there. And I was thinking about using some wax to deepen this, but I'm really liking the way it looks right now. So I don't think I'm going to be doing anything else to this except for top coating it. And I'm thinking I will use satin. So I'll use satin on the whole piece, and I'll use gator hide on the top. Okay, gator hide is our water repellent top coat. So I'll put 3 coats of gator hide on the top. It'll have a nice, strong, durable finish to it. Thank you, Jason. So Jason is a very talented painter of furniture, and he has the round small, the oval medium, and the flat small, and many of the brushes. Have you used your oval medium first yet? Because that is the bomb. That's the one you need to get to using. Now, I use my oval medium to put my top coat on, my gator hide. I love it for gator hide. I know that we sell the blue sponges for that too, but for some reason, I think because we all do things differently, we all have a different touch, the oval medium works really well for me for the top coats. Now, like I said earlier in the video, I did get the Paint Pixie Pinelli. It's a synthetic brush. I'm going to try it and see. I heard it works really well. Dixie Belle's brushes are all handmade in Florida, and right now we're backstopped because of COVID and supply and demand. They're having a hard time getting supplies. So that's something that I decided to reach out to another company just to have brushes on hand, just in case we can't, because all the retailers are trying to get the Dixie Belle brushes because they are the best. But and these brushes are a little bit lower price point, and I wanted to test them. If they are as good as I hear, then I will be offering those in addition to my Dixie Bond brushes, okay? But I'm gonna let y'all go. My kids, I hear my kids out there, so I want to go see my kids, and I'll be back Wednesday night, okay, at 7 o'clock. I'll see you guys then. Bye. God bless.